Morning, amazing experts. I'm super excited to be with you here today because we've got an absolutely special live stream with a person who is the game changer in international education. A person who created a revolutionary method in the world of learning a language, Reichel Pelíng. I invited this person here today just to get you acquainted with the method and with the way how to shift the paradigm in the world of education. So right now I would like to send the invitation and invite Rachel here. I suppose it will take several minutes. And frankly speaking, this is the first time when I'm sending the invitation to another person. Just one moment. And while we're waiting for Rachel, may I invite you to react here with the heart so that I can see that I'm not alone. Rachel, good morning.
Good morning, Alona. How are you doing? Buenos días.
Доброго ранку. I'm pretty
Доброго
fine.
ранку.
I'm
Fantastic.
excited to see you here.
Yes.
For my followers here, for people who are watching us, may I ask you, where are you now?
Actually, I live near Tarragona in Spain, so that's where I am at the moment. Next week I will be traveling again, but for the moment I'm here.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've just announced that the topic of our discussion here today is how can neuroscience, coaching, and English help you grow as a professional? So may I ask you, as the creator of the revolutionary method in the world of education, what is the link between neuroscience, coaching, and English?
Well, Alona, thank you. And, I know that you're an expert now of this, so you're carrying all of that within you. And I think, one of the major points is that, firstly, we learn with the brain, with the gut, with the heart. And for me, it was really that question of how does all of this link together? Because, well, some years ago, 2015, 2016, somebody wanted to do my course. And this gentleman actually said to me, well, why are you going into the neuroscience? Why are you going into the brain? Why are you wasting time here? And literally, I turned around and said, isn't it time that we do? Because, we've been in educational processes for centuries. And it's only now that we start to pay attention to how we learn, really, and how we function as human beings and how we connect. But I have to also say that the science itself has developed in such a way that now we are able to understand a lot more. So neuroscience, yes, it really is that question of how the brain learns, how the brain functions, how the brain reacts, because sometimes our brain shuts down and we cannot learn. And now we understand much more what's happening there. So the brain is principal in everything that we do. Coaching, very interestingly, there are a lot of misunderstandings about coaching. And there are various different types of coaching. And I think it's about honoring all the different types and understanding that the coaching that we actually follow, we practice, is the coaching from the International Coaching Federation, that pure style of soundboarding, interacting with learners, clients, helping people to find their own way, really coming into that autonomy from learners. And we know that that helps the ownership. It really helps the learning process. And that's the coaching that we practice, we follow. How does that connect with language? Well, we're language experts. That's what we do. We come from that. We've lived through that. I started teaching when I was 17. I started teaching Spanish at that age. English at that age when I was living in Spain. And so as language experts, I think what we are trying to do is make our job much more effective and efficient than it ever has been before. Oh, and I've had a morning sneeze in public there. Thank you. It's the morning sun. So yes, I think we have this desire to be much more efficient with what we're doing, and we're doing it now. We're understanding ourselves, that combination. And not only are we understanding it, not only are we bringing in that sort of theory, but we're living it because we are embodying the whole approach. As you know, it becomes us. And we're having amazing results. Like you are with your clients, so are many, many, many of those neurolanguage coaches across the world. You're just getting phenomenal feedback. People are learning much faster than ever before. People are understanding much more than ever before. And that's the key. This is the key for what we're doing, the client, the learner.
Definitely. And may I share the insight I've just gotten? This is just reflection on the communication with my client. You just mentioned the idea of a brain-friendly learning and the processes based on the principles of the brain work. Mm. And I remember your words and the way they worked with my client, that pronunciation starts not here, but it starts here. Yeah. And as soon as she got that was the aha moment when she shared, oh my, now I understand why my friend John is not mocking at me. She's just speaking this way just because she realized the way it works on the level based on the principles of the brain work. And that is the fantastic idea, just like brain-friendly learning. That is the thing that we are constantly writing on our websites, talking about the method. Yeah. And you just mentioned that sometimes, not sometimes, but we need to be aware of the reasons why our brain can be blocked. So may I ask you about these? So what can be the reasons why our brain blocks when learning the language?
Yes, and first I want to let me backtrack a minute, because yes, we talk about brain friendly. I know some people criticize that, saying it's not nerdy enough, it's not scientific enough, the expression. But actually, I think it's an expression that everybody understands. Whether we're talking to little kiddies, teenagers, executives, people get it. And that's what we want. We want people to get us. We don't want to be talking in scientific language that people don't understand. So yes, brain friendly, because we adapt everything, we tailor make everything. We know that every brain is unique. And we're coming into that neurodiversity and honoring the brain that's sitting in front of us at any given time. So that's the first thing to really accentuate. Secondly, I think you and I, as language learners, we know exactly what it feels like to suddenly not be able to speak, even when we're fluent, to suddenly start stuttering, get nervous, get, really that block where we don't even know the reason for it happening. Now, when we start to explain to people the physiological reaction, people start to understand it. And when we start to understand something, we can build strategies and work on it. And that's the key thing. The brain wants to understand. And one of the mechanisms that we have in our brains, inbuilt in our, let's say, our physical system, is the survival mechanism. And as soon as our brain perceives a threat, that mechanism kicks in. And thank God, because if we are standing in front of a tiger, if we are standing in front of danger, or we're facing that moment of danger, thank God that kicks in to save us. However, the problem is that when that starts kicking in and it's not a life-threatening situation, we're still having the same reactions. And we have the studies demonstrating that mathematics arouses the amygdala, arouses that fight or flight mechanism in many, many people. And that particular research was from 2002, relating to mathematics. Now, I would say that for some people is even worse than mathematics. Because language learning puts us into a very strange situation. It makes us feel embarrassed, ashamed. We feel like kids again, you know, where we feel a little bit humiliated, or we feel people are making fun of us, or, you know, and that can really shut us down. Maybe there's also questions of feeling threatened because of status, or because they've taken away our autonomy to do things, or maybe even because we're just not connecting in with the right people. So there can be many, many emotional triggers in language learning. And of course, there can be a lot of bad learning memories that are triggering those moments of fight or flight. Mm-hmm. Once we go into fight or flight, areas of the brain are not receiving the resources that they need. And especially the prefrontal cortex, rational, logical, analytical brain, working memory is compromised. So yeah, the flow of language is stilted.
Yes, yes. Yeah. If I may share, I work with adults only. I don't work with teenagers and I don't work with kids. And it means that people frequently ask me about these triggers. It's like, okay, if I've got some triggers and some blocks related to the language learning, does that mean that we will go deeper in the psychology and in the inner world of mine? Will you treat me? And how can you comment upon that?
You know, I honestly think that when we do the training, I make it very clear that we are not psychotherapists, we're not therapists. And even with the International Coach Federation, all of the competences, the ethics, we're very clear that we are not life coaches unless we are qualified as a life coach, credentialed, and we're not therapists or psychotherapists. However, if there is something that is impeding language fluency, language production, we're going to be touching upon it, obviously with permission of the client. We're really going to be asking the client, may we explore, may we talk about this? And in everything that we do, we share what's happening with the brain, we explain the fight or flight, we explain physically what's happening, and then we try to understand, okay, what are the triggers behind it? And then we try to build in those strategies to help the client. So we make it very clear to the client that we're not digging into their childhood, we're not going into any type of psychotherapy. And if that is needed, we are recommending that they seek professional help from a psychotherapist or a therapist. Mm-hmm. And if it's something to do with the language, permission to explore. Mm-hmm. And if the client is okay with that, then we will just touch upon it to shift it, to get it into a different mode, so beyond it, and get the client into the language. That's what we do.
Yes, absolutely. It's like to deal with triggers related to the language only to optimize the learning process with the client. Absolutely. And currently my target audience is an entrepreneur, and that is the top manager and the owner of the business, meaning that these people, every person actually does appreciate the time and investment. And I remember my experience when learning the language, that the second one is German. I invested so many years into that, so much money into that. And in fact, I'm a beginner, really. I reached that high level and now it decreased and I'm beginner. And lots of the entrepreneurs ask me, it's like, am I supposed to devote many years for learning the language, and will we dig in my world for many years together with learning the language? So how can you comment upon the process of optimizing the cost effectiveness related to the client's expectations?
Yes, and I'm curious that this particular client is not thinking, how many years do I have to pay you? And that's the big question. That's the bottom line, you know. And I think if we're honest, we really don't want our clients to be with us forever. And this is one of the major differences. You know, I've heard of certain, let's say, approaches and methods where they want the client there for years. We don't. We don't. We want our client up and running fast. We're also trying to get the client to come into a lot of learner autonomy so that they understand there's a lot that they can do by themselves. A lot. So we're trying to work with them as a coach. We're trying to get them to be self-sufficient. We're trying to get them into metacognition, understand how they learn, how they function, so that they can actually do a lot of it on their own. We're always there for them. We're always supporting them. And I've had clients that maybe finished the sessions with me 7 or 8 years ago. They still contact me today. Rachel, are you free? Rachel, can you help me? The clients will always come back to you. Once they know that you are allowing them to be autonomous, you're being cost effective, you're doing what you say you want to do, which is get them up and running fast, they will honor that and they'll always come back. Always. Now, let's just come into this a minute, because yes, we are a little bit more expensive because we are very much more focused on the cost effectiveness. Everything that we do is focused learning. All the training that you receive, we actually then perform it in our sessions. We have mechanical goals, mastery goals. We get our clients really focused in the sessions. The sessions are very high powered. There's a lot of signposting, a lot of getting them into things, a lot of them discussing, sharing, so that we really make sure that there's scaffolding and understanding. And once they've got it, they can then move on. I've had people in 20 minutes who say to me, Rachel, for the first time in my life, after 20 years, I now understand the present perfect. Thank you. And, you know, it's that moment of insight of, oh, now I get it. And once the brain really, really grasps something, the brain then starts patterning and doing it by itself. And that's what we want. That's what we are there to provoke. I always say that we are provocateur par excellence. That's what we're doing continuously. So yes, we are focused on cost effective. We did a study in a company last year. This company brilliantly allowed us to come in, do the study, allowed us to create a case study. The company was Webfleet. We had 8 clients. We had some of our Neurolanguage coaches in there because there were different nationalities of clients. And we demonstrated after 12 weeks the impact. Those clients really felt and demonstrated with statistics that they had improved in 12 weeks, which is 12 sessions. And after those 12 sessions, the company actually said to me, Rachel, all of our clients are thrilled, they're delighted, and they've all said that they can now continue by themselves. That, on the one side, is brilliant because it demonstrates that in those 12 weeks, they've discovered themselves. We go back to Socrates, know thyself. So all of our coaches help those clients to discover themselves. The downside is we lost the business with those clients. However, the company then gave us more clients. So, you know, you may lose some, but you're going to gain more. And that's the philosophy on what we base everything that we do.
Absolutely.
And we're demonstrating that impact now more and more and more. We've just had one of our Neurolanguage coaches finish a master degree in China. And she was studying the impact of Neurolanguage coaching in the classroom with Chinese kiddies. And I was reading it the other day. I'm just thrilled because she has also demonstrated impact. And that study, I'll be speaking with Macarena soon. Macarena, well done, wherever you are in the world at the moment. I'll be speaking with Macarena this weekend. And then when it's published, we will be getting that all over the place because it is brilliant. Brilliant to see how we're now demonstrating that impact. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's not only about the cost effectiveness, but also about the time efficiency. And here there is a very...
I need to stop you a minute. I need to stop you because in the comments we've got Irina saying that just after 8 sessions with you, she also had progress. So Irina, fantastic. Alona, well done. Beautiful feedback.
I'm super excited to hear these words from Irina because she's an absolute lifelong learner. She's really curious about the world of the brain work. And she's the absolutely autonomous. So that's the main reason she can do that. And she said goodbye to me, you see. We are not continuing working, but maybe, who knows? Who knows?
I am positive. I'm positive. I'm sure Irina is smiling in the background. I know you're listening, Irina. I'm positive that Irina, whenever she needs something, she will call you. She will never forget you because what you've done is given her the gift of her autonomy. And this is what more and more teachers need to start doing. We need to stop being the center stage and we need to take a step back and say, no, this process is about you, your autonomy, your learning process. You have to discover you.
Yes.
And that's what schooling has never done for any of us. I discovered my autonomy at the age of 15 when I taught myself Spanish. And that's when I realized, hey, you know what? I don't need school, actually. If I can just understand how to do this by myself, absolutely. And this is where we need to start. Even with kids, we need to get kids to be much more autonomous learners so that they understand themselves. Because what works for one does not work for 99 others. And this is where we have to stop pushing people into one box and honor the individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I very often call that as teacher's addiction. So no more this teacher's addiction. And my mission, my goal is to make you say goodbye to me. And I'm constantly repeating that to my clients. I want you to say goodbye to me. That's my main mission here. Yeah. I want you to learn the language, to discover the language with no drilling, with no books, with no constant addiction. And people are curious. It's like, do you teach English for 2 months period, super fast with the speeding up way? I said, that is not about teaching you fast. That is about optimizing your learning. That is about goal setting. It's like clients come to me with the particular goals. It's like, Alona, I've got 3 months period to relocate to another country. Or I've got 2 months period to get prepared for the public speaking at the business summit at Cyprus. Or I've got 6 months period to get into IT because I'm changing the professional paradigm. Yeah. And that is about the goal setting. Yeah. However, recently I've received many questions. It's like, okay, that's clear if people have these targets. But in my area, I understand, in my mentality, in my culture, I understand that I need to learn English. But I don't know why. So what to do with these people who want to learn the language? They want to grow professionally as the person, as an expert, but they don't understand these reasons. So what is the role of a neurolanguage coach here?
And definitely, I think it's about sort of probing motivation, that inner motivation, and seeing if they can create a vision around the learning. You know, visions are very, very, very powerful. And if we're doing something without, in Spanish we would say without rumbo, without destination, it's almost like we're aimlessly going through life. If I can bring it to that equivalent, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. And we go through life saying, I want to lose weight, and we never kind of get to that sort of pinpointed goal of what we want, the reason that we want it. And with language learning, it's similar. You know, sometimes we know, or many people know, that they need to learn a language, but they cannot connect with that deeper vision. So sometimes it is helping just by using powerful coaching questions, helping people to formulate, where is this going to go? Where is it going to take you? What's it going to bring you? How could it change your life? Now, I know from many, many people that are non-native English, having English under your belt could one day in your life change it. And I know, you know, a lot of children in countries, if we take some of the countries in South America, just having English, those kids, it could really, really make a difference for them. So, you know, with children, it's even more difficult because children aren't able to create that vision. So how can we help them to plug into something that's going to stimulate, motivate, get them wanting to do it? And if there is nothing, then we have to go to the process itself. How can we make this learning process fun, engaging? How can we make it so you want to be with me every week? And that's the key. Firstly, the vision. If there's no vision, then okay, let's go to the process. Mm-hmm. And if we can get them engaged, yes, you might be able to then keep them there. If you can get them engaged with a vision, then you've got commitment. Mm-hmm. And that's key. That's really key.
I'm constantly asking you about the adults and about grown-up people, and currently you just mentioned the kids. And this method, Neurolanguage Coaching method, does it work with the beginners and little kids, like aged 4, let it be? I've got a son, he's 4.5. And frankly speaking, I would like to have this experiment, to take some time and to deal with him. But I understand that this is my area of growth because I've never tried these thing with kids. And that's the question. Does it work with such little guys?
Well, maybe I can reflect back to you. You have a 4.5-year-old little boy. How autonomous is he?
He's autonomous.
Okay. How much does he know what he wants and what he doesn't want, and what he likes and what he doesn't like?
It's the total understanding of
right.
Expression of that.
Absolutely. Maybe in his baby talk or whatever, but he kind of has his own, he knows what he likes, what he doesn't, what he wants, what he doesn't.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, we sort of have this idea that little kids don't know. Actually, they do. And I would suggest that little kids are much more powerful than we give them credit to. We the adults are more sort of thinking, okay, we to discipline, and yes, we do. However, we need to understand how to do that by helping them to keep their individuality. So I would say the same sort of things need to be sort of brought to little kids, you know, even sort of that. How can you bring them into the magic of learning another language? How can it be like a game, a code, a magical code that nobody else understands except for he and you? And that sort of magic around learning, when that sort of is coming into kids, then they want more. They want more. And then, you know, in those early ages, it really is about them experiencing it, embodying it, living it, playing it, doing it. So kids at that age are just absorbing everything subconsciously. So I would even suggest that you can do a lot of this, but making it natural. The more natural, the more you kind of integrate it into his life, the more it's going to come in as subconscious learning, which is what they do at that age. And you're going to give him the gift of life. And this is the right age to do it, Alona. It really is. They say that the best years for learning languages are between 2 and 4.
The only interesting thing that I couldn't even imagine how to apply this method with my kid. And I was using traditional ways, and even that approach where you don't have any translation. You got only English practice with the baby. And I experienced that for a year. And after that, it's like I'm just opening my heart and my problem to all of you, actually. And maybe you will not, the people who are watching us will not repeat the same mistake. And my baby started crying every time when he heard my English speech after the 1 year period of practicing every morning, 2 hours of English, only English, all of that with no translation, no playing, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Just, and then that was the tantrum that I couldn't stop. He hated my speech. He hated my voice.
Yeah.
And I stopped that.
Yeah.
And I stopped that from the, it was from 1 to 2 years old approximately. So the gap from 2 to 4, and I was using traditional ways. The same that we do at schools, at kindergartens, at home, something light, some alphabet, some reading, some songs, no result. Just like nothing, absolutely nothing. And I just realized that I need to change something. I need to go deeper into something. And I've got an insight right now that you said about the vision, that they are more talented than we accredit them to be.
Absolutely.
And so he's, for me, grown up enough to talk about the vision, actually.
Try it.
And
try it.
This is the simple thing that I do that constantly with my clients.
Right.
And I've never thought about the vision and the main idea for learning the language for my little kid, because I used to think that no, he's small enough, he's my baby, he will not answer that question. And I will try
and
that.
Game, the fun, the magic, how can you bring that in? That's the question for mums, I think, and especially at that age, because if you can bring in some special games that they play only in English, or maybe some special cartoons that are only in English, and try to get them into that sort of subconscious input. The acquisition is key. As they've learnt the native language, they can now come into other languages. And I'm sure that in that period of time that you were speaking with him, I'm sure subconsciously a lot has come in. What was coming up for me there was, he was used to his mum's voice right from when you were pregnant. So right from being in your tummy, he was used to a certain sound. And then suddenly to have you coming in with a different sound, I can imagine that it was that was a protest.
Yes.
And I often think that, bilingual parents, when they are able to, one parent speak English, one parent speak the other language, that's the perfect combination, because then children grow up with, one language here, one language here. And there they have the distinction. And normally it is that those parents are native in one and native in the other, so they're coming out with their native sounds. And when it's not the case, like you're giving him this gift as a non-native, then I would say the deeper question for you is how to integrate this with play, with fun, with the right brain chemistry. Understanding that this is going to go into subconscious learning.
So the main focus on the role playing, not like I'm an English speaker with my son, but we are role playing in the form of some game or some simulation of something, or maybe some activities. But
ask him what he prefers.
Yes.
He might prefer watching cartoons in English or with you, or he might prefer watching a movie with you in English, or he might prefer reading a special magic book with you in English, or he might prefer to do role plays and go shopping with you or play football with you in English. I honestly think it's about you asking him as well, even at that age, just finding out, and even in sort of baby language, you know, and maybe every day it's going to be different.
Yes.
What
everything should be
thing can you
started
do?
with the vision.
Yes.
With the vision, because just these alternatives, they don't work appropriately, because I do ask and I see no response.
Yes.
No temptation and no desire to do that, because there is no vision, there is no understanding why to do that, and he doesn't understand that.
That's right.
Actually.
And may I say that the other thing, Alona, is how to pique his curiosity. So maybe if you're watching a cartoon in English and you're laughing and having a good time, and he gets curious, you know, Mum, what are you watching? Mum, what is it? And that, you know, that curiosity of, oh, I want to start to watch this, or I want to start to do this. And again, it's how to pique that curiosity in kids. Kids are naturally curious. So if you do things that kind of arouse that curiosity, then he's going to want to come in there with you.
Fantastic. That's the main reason he's so curious when I have sessions with my clients, when I communicate English with them, and he's peeping constantly. He's opening the door a little bit and
there
peeping.
You go. There you go. Yeah. And you could be saying to him, hey, you know, one day, would you like to sit with me a little bit? And with permission of the client, obviously. But just that sort of, there you've got the proof. He's curious. Yeah. He's curious. What does Mum do? What's Mum saying? Yeah, fantastic. How would you feel if you understood me more in English? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that is not only about the adults, not only about the teenagers, but also about the babies, that neuroscience coaching and language learning can help also to be a lifelong learner. Yeah.
You know, it's everything comes back to us, the educator, understanding the brain and understanding how we learn best. I always call it the perfect learning state. And with that understanding, then really finding out from our learners what's going to work for you. So if we know that, you know, curiosity actually then spikes dopamine, as an educator, one of my major tasks will be to get you into that curiosity state. And if I know that novelty and variety and positive comments get you with that dopamine flowing as well, I'm going to be trying to see, you know, how can I get you into a better learning state? Everything comes down to us, as we said earlier, embodying and integrating and understanding this way forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect learning state with the help of curiosity. I do like saying that curiosity is like the petrol for our car to move forward.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, you know, we are born curious. We are naturally curious as kids. That's how we live. We are too curious. That's why we need parents telling us, no, you can't do that because it's dangerous. Because we literally want to do and experience and embody everything as children. And as we get older, we tend to go into more fear. We tend to go into more restrictions because we've been maybe indoctrinated, maybe conditioned, maybe we've had bad experiences. And that kind of takes away our curiosity. And you, in that position that you're in, what you're doing is also bringing that curiosity back to your adult learners and really asking them, you know, how can you be like a kid again in the learning process?
Definitely. May I ask you the final question, because we're coming to an end?
Can, with pleasure, yes.
And just a little intro into that. I started your very first course in 2020, and I can't stop admiring those changes that I've been experienced throughout this life. It's like as if my life divided into before and after. Not just because of the course, not because of the clients, not because of the new diploma in the world of education for me, but my real life, social life, changed significantly. My family life, my attitude to sports, my attitude to business, my vision, my values. No, they are not changed, but they are empowered. And I'm watching that person from 2020 having the videos. I can't recognize that person. That is another person there, really. And my question to you is like the question that I would like to devote to the answer to devote to my clients. It's like, how can this type of learning change the life of my clients, of our clients?
You know, as we said earlier, it's very hard to describe this change, but it's real. And I've been through it, through my evolution with this concept. Even as the creator, I've been on this evolutionary path. And I know that most neurolanguage coaches that have gone through this have also gone through that deep, deep, deep transformation. And what we do is, and I'm going to use that word, it's deep. There's nothing superficial about what we do. We come to the understanding of the core of who we are, what we do, and we transmit that. Now, if we kind of put that in old context, you know, when you did the course in 2020, Alona, it was pandemic time. And I worked with so many of you in that time. And the world itself was changing, the people were changing, the brains were changing, everything was changing. And we've come out that into, I'm even going to say, the birthing of a new world. We're in this process at the moment. We're coming into saying what we want, what we don't want, what we like, what we don't like, how we want to move forward. And that's hitting the educational processes as well, the learning processes. That's hitting our learners, whether they are at school, teenagers, executives, businesses, whatever. We've all changed here. Now, the one thing that we're doing is we are adapting to them. And that is something quite unique because many teachers don't know how to do that. They're not doing it. And we don't just lip service what we do. We live it. We breathe it. We are it. And people sense that. You know, we've come to a time in the world where we notice and we sense authenticity. And all of you are authentic. And that authenticity is going to help learners to also recognize their authenticity. And just by sharing with the learners about the brain, no matter what age they are, just by helping them to understand the basic functioning, the basic reactions, the instincts, the survival mechanisms, just by sharing that in a very gentle, simple way is having such an effect on learners. It's really helping a lot of people in all areas of their life. So as our course, my course, touched all of you, I know that all of you are touching your learners. And we're all the pebbles in the pond, touching and helping and rippling this effect to each other. And I think this ripple is the ripple of how we want to move forward in the world, whether it's in our daily lives, whether it's with our education, whether it's with our politics, whether it's with whatever we want. We're now rippling into, this is what we want, this is how we want to live, and this is how we are living it. And the more of us living it, the more of us will be changing it.
Authenticity and the way how we live. Yeah.
It all impacts.
the
it
recent
impacts everything.
comment I've got is like, Alona, that is not about English anymore. That is about my life, about my social networking, about the way I communicate with people. And the most important thing for me that I've realized that is not just one out of methods that should be united and consolidated during the session. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Totally. Because I do understand the way it can go, because sometimes, like in sports, you come to a sport coach and this coach consolidates different methods, this nutrition, this training, this workout, and as a result, you don't understand the result, you don't see any result. But if you've got the main focus with not the concentration on the methods, on the styles, teaching styles, educational styles, methodologies, but if you focus on the goal of the learner
and the learner themselves,
listening, asking, what do you want? What would you like? Removing the focus and the significance from the method of learning and from English, because the idea is not about English anymore. That is about the learning skill. It's like life skill.
It is, and you know, once you give them the keys and that sort of facility to learn, why stop at one language? Why not two? Why not three? Why not four?
That is not about English. That is not only about the languages. That is about more. Rachel, how many languages do you speak?
I'm frustrated actually, because I wish I was speaking more. Let's say with my native language, I actually speak, actually I'm trying to think, French, Spanish, Catalan, Italian, German, and native language, English. I speak some baby languages, which are frustrating me because I want to progress them more, but at the moment I'm focused on so many other things. Yeah.
5 languages, that is just amazing. That's amazing. And just because you're curious.
Yeah, I do want more, definitely. I keep threatening myself that I need to get serious, but one of my major problems is I have so many things going on at the moment, and hopefully now if I can get some things finished. I'm finalizing a 3rd book at the moment, and once that's out the way, I do want to start another book immediately because I've got it burning in my brain. So, you know, when I've sort of got these things out the way and out there in the world, then I'm going to sit back and do some more learning, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, that was an exciting journey with you to Tarragona today.
Yeah, well, you know,
beauty.
We met in Salon in Tarragona. Was it 2018, 2019?
2021.
Oh, 21 was it? Yes. Wow, gosh.
The beginning of October.
Right.
And I remember this time, I constantly reminded myself about this time with the warmth in my heart. And that was an exciting experience to talk with you in person and to share your vision, because when we are meeting in person, that is another vibe. You can understand, you can share the heart and this vibe with the person live, and that is amazing.
Absolutely. And Alona, I do want to also say that, you know, all of you in Ukraine, you've suffered so much over the last couple of years, and I know that our hearts are with you every step of the way, and we really want this to finish now, and that you all come back into normal life, and that we're all embracing you, and that we're getting you coming back to Tarragona to see me too again.
Definitely. Thank you a lot for your support, because I know how many things you are arranging and you're providing with the Ukrainians, and
it's always really never enough.
Yes.
But
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. So in any case, we're working on the development. Here, as a Ukrainian, I'm working on the development of the future by means of the world of education. And I do believe that it will work, it will help. That's why I'm here. And I do believe that very soon, in a peaceful time, I will give you a big, big hug.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I cannot wait
of the freedom. Yes.
I would love to be visiting you all there one day. It was on my agenda to come over to give. And definitely, it's still on that agenda. We're going to hold that vision. Yes. Yeah.
I'm hugging you.
And I know. And Alona, I think we need to tell the public what you're doing, because you're now starting to really bring Neurolanguage Coaching to Ukraine. With the Neurolanguage Coaching Center, you're creating this sort of hub, and brilliant. Absolutely, we have a lot of Ukrainian. We have teacher trainers. We have a lot of coaches over there, and absolutely, you're all brilliant. And I know that now you're really pushing it and bringing it. So thank you for that.
Yes, indeed. I've started this center in July already. According to the Neurolanguage Coaching method, it means that I'm inviting only the colleagues of ours from our network, certified and accredited Neurolanguage coaches. It means that we are on with the same vision. We are sharing the vision that can bring the shifting paradigm to the world of education. And currently, I'm delivering this idea to the Ukrainians, to the experts, to the entrepreneurs, and I'm inviting the clients to our center, because today we are working on the leaving the trace in the world of education in Ukraine, but I do hope that very soon we will spread this world and go internationally. But I will be not alone, but I got a fantastic team, because lots of coaches reacted, they responded to my announcement, and that's a fantastic community.
Yes. No, you are a phenomenal community. You really are, all of you. You're brilliant. And people are sensing it. People are really feeling it and living it, as you said. And can we sort of say that one of our visions is that one day you and I will be meeting in Bali?
Of course. Of course. I remember about being a licensed teacher trainer in Bali, so I do remember about that. So no worries. One day we'll come to that.
Yeah, I remember it very well. Yes.
Fantastic. Vision matters, Rachel. Vision matters.
Absolutely. It's the driving force of life.
Oh, that is that is the biggest takeaway. The driving force of life is our vision. I suppose that this is the perfect final word of the live stream with you. I've got the goosebumps.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yes.
Fantastic. Rachel, thank you so much for your time, your energy, for sharing this vision and sharing this concept with us. I'm incredibly grateful for the time of our participants and followers, for people who are with us here today. Thank you a lot, and I'm wishing you a fantastic day.
You too. Big hug to everybody who's watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alona.